Hello, good. Welcome. Yep. Welcome. Am I live? All right, everybody, welcome. Can you hear me okay? Excellent. Awesome. Welcome to day 2 here at Cisco Live Melbourne. My name is Hank Preston, and you're joining me here in the Cisco U Theater for a talk on all about how to earn your Cisco Certified Network Professional, the CCNP, our professional level tier certification. All right, I'm going to keep babbling a little bit while the stragglers kind of get a chance to sit down. But how many people in the audience are already Cisco certified at all? Who has a CCNA? Excellent. Does anybody have a CCNP so far? All right, we've got some of those. Great. There's always more. Oh, expired. That's okay. It's okay. You can always get another one. Any CCIE holders out there? Expert level certified, folks? Excellent. All right. Well, this is a step in your path to becoming CCIE expert level certified. Now, the first question when you head on the road towards the CCNP is which CCNP is right for you? Because we have more than one Cisco Certified Network Professional. In fact, the family of CCNPs is made up of 5 different certifications. We have our CCNP Enterprise, which focuses on campus, WAN, wired and wireless, cloud-based access. We have our CCNP Collaboration for everybody focused on helping engineers and people communicate with voice, video, meeting systems. CCNP Data Center. This is where all the fun stuff happens inside of the data center with artificial intelligence, one of the big buzzwords here at Cisco Live this week. But it's also focused on compute, data center networking topology or connectivity options, technologies like ACI, UCS, Intersight, all of those areas that are in there. We have CCNP Security. Security is really important and has always been important. And our CCNP Security focuses on everything required from firewalls to email security, VPN technologies, web, email security, and then obviously all of the newer areas around threat detections in those areas. And then finally, our CCNP Service Provider, focused on the service provider areas of switching, routing, connecting customers across the globe to their areas. And so that's the first step to decide is kind of which one of these CCNPs are you going to go after? Excuse me, are you going to go after? Once you've made that decision, the next thing to recognize is what does it take to become CCNP certified? What does it take to earn that CCNP? Well, I always like to look for the easy way. So I go after like the phenomenal cosmic power. If you can manage to find one of these wonderful lamps that are out there, you simply need to find the genie and wish upon that genie to earn your CCNP. Unfortunately, the one that I found came from Amazon in a little box that was made out of plastic, and it did not solve my problem. So I had to go back to like the hard way, the actual like effort-induced way. And this brings us to one of my favorite graphics that we put together. These little gumdrops of how our certification program goes in. Cisco has a robust certification program spanning from engineering skills through automation, cybersecurity. We go from associate level all the way up to expert level. We're focused today on the CCNP area. So we're going to kind of zoom this image down into this area. You'll have to take 2 certification exams to earn your CCNP. They're broken down into a core certification exam and then a concentration-based exam. The CCNPs have those different tracks that I mentioned. We've got enterprise, data center security, and you'll see they're kind of branched down here through the colors. So we got enterprise, security, service provider. Each one of the certifications that are in there has that core exam that focuses on kind of the foundational technologies and topics in that domain that every engineer is going to need. But there are different ways to be an enterprise engineer. There are different ways to be a data center engineer. And that's where the concentrations come in. The concentrations are a way for you to specialize, to figure out what type of enterprise engineer are you. Are you focused in wireless? In which case, maybe you'll go after wireless implementation or wireless design as your concentration. Maybe you're on the security side, but your security really focuses in on VPNs. And so after the security core, you can take the VPN certification concentration exam. And so it's at the concentrations where you get to craft the specific Cisco Certified Network Professional that's right for you. Now you'll notice here on the end, we have a handful of certification concentrations that are all this dark blue color that say automation. They're kind of a special type of concentration exam that we offer here at Cisco. We like to refer to these sometimes that they kind of double dip. They qualify for 2 different professional level certifications. Down here below, we've got the DevNet Professional, which focuses on automation, infrastructure as code, programmability types of skills. In order to earn a DevNet Professional, there's a DevNet Core, just like we have here with the CCNP. And then there are concentrations for the DevNet Professional, which are actually these same as these automation ones. And so if for yourself, if you're really focused in, let's say, security, right? So you want to go after your security core, but you're also doing some automation and programmability, you can go ahead and earn your security automation concentration, and that also would qualify you potentially for a DevNet Professional as well. So as you're making those selections, these automation certification or concentration exams have that special bonus that they do qualify for 2 different professional level certifications. You can take these exams in either order, right? So it depends on kind of where you are in your studies and your studies and preparation. If you're kind of at that spot, you feel like you've got a nice breath and you want to get that out of the way, starting with the core is great. But I've had a lot of engineers come back and say, okay, I do VPNs every day, or I work in ICE every day, or I'm a wireless engineer. And so getting that concentration out of the way where your strength is may give you kind of that boost of confidence to move forward towards the core. But it really is completely up to you on how you after them. So just to reiterate, to earn your CCNP, there's 2 exams. You'll take 1 core exam, and then you'll take the concentration exam that matches that core exam that's in there. 2 exams, and that will earn you your CCNP. Now, the exams themselves are slightly different. The core exam is a 128-minute exam, so it's a little bit longer than the concentration exams. And the core exam is made up of primarily multiple choice questions. Most of these questions will be what we refer to as multiple choice single answer. You'll see a question, you'll be given a series of 4 or 5 options, you pick the right answer. Some of the multiple choice questions will be multiple answer. You'll see a question, it'll say choose the 3 that match or choose the 4 that match. Right? Most of the questions fall into that bucket. We do have a few other types of questions that you might see. We call them drag and drops. So you'll see like an image or a display and you've got to drag boxes to another part of the screen. Maybe it's a list of routing protocols on one side and then features on another. And you have to match the feature to the routing protocol, right? There's different types of drag and drop questions you might see. We also have what we refer to as lablets or performance-based questions. These are areas where the question actually puts you directly on the console and gives you access to the network devices or equipment that's relevant for that question, and you're asked to do some task. Maybe you're asked to configure BGP peering between a couple of routers, and you're actually put on the console for these devices, and you're given a series of tasks to complete. And if you complete those tasks successfully, you earn some number of points towards your exam certification. Those lablet questions are some of my favorites, right? It's much easier for me to remember how to do something if I just go and do it rather than be asked some multiple choice question about it. So I'm always a fan when I see those performance-based questions come through, right? So on some of the exams, you might see 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6 of those. Just depends on the exam mix and what you might see on that side. Now, the core exams, as I mentioned, the idea here is this is the foundational topic that every professional in that domain should know. And so it's a broad range. So let's say you're taking EN core, you'll see a little bit about switching, you'll see a little bit about routing, you'll have a few questions about wireless, right? It's a breadth of knowledge that everybody in the enterprise domain should know, right? If you're on security, you'll see a little bit about VPNs, a little bit about foundational security pieces, right? This is that idea of it's the breadth. Everybody in that domain is supposed to have that knowledge. There's one other thing that the CCNP core exams also act as, and that's the qualification exam for the expert level certification in that domain. And so if you wanted to take the CCIE Enterprise Infrastructure exam, right, in order to qualify for that, you have to take the EN core exam. If you want to take the CCIE security exam, the security core, SEC core, would be the core exam that you would take for that one. And so these are the same exams. If you've been working in Cisco certifications for a while, you may think that, well, we used to have dedicated written exams for the CCIEs. We did have that up until about 4 years ago. 4 years ago, when the program changed, the CCNP core exams became the qualification exam for those for the CCIE lab exam. So slight change in pace on that. Now, the concentration exams are a little shorter. They're only 90-minute exams, but the format of the exam itself matches what we had in the core. So primarily multiple choice, you might see some drag and drops or some performance-based exams that are in there. Each one of the concentration exams focuses on a particular part of the technology or the job role that you're after. And so this is where we might see that exam specifically on advanced routing and switching, ENRC, right? We really dive deep into how routing works. Or maybe we've got one focused on just VPNs or just how ICE configuration works in security, or just on ACI network implementation in the data center space, right? It's a specific concentrated part of the role is what we're after. In order to earn a CCNP, you have to take one concentration exam, but you certainly can take more than one of those. Many network engineers actually do more than one thing in their day job, right? It's pretty rare you find somebody that only works on VPNs or only works on wireless. We do a lot of different things. And so you certainly can take more than one concentration exam as you go in. And then just another reminder, as mentioned, you can double dip with those automation concentration exams to qualify both for a CCNP as well as a DevNet professional. So it gives you both options. If you're interested in automation, it's a nice kind of push to kind of go after that concentration that's there. Now, we spend a lot of time talking about the main certifications from Cisco: CCNA, CCNP, CCIE. But it's also worth noting that every single exam you take from Cisco will earn you a Cisco Certified Specialist certification, right? So you'll get an actual certificate matched to each one of the exams that's there. So along your journey towards your CCNP, you will earn at least 2 Cisco Specialist certifications, one for your core exam and one for the concentration exam that you went after. Now, a few key points to kind of focus in in this area. Exams from Cisco have a 3-year validity, right? So what does that mean? Let's say you're on the journey towards your CCNP and you take your EN core exam. And then you say, okay, well, I'm not ready to jump directly into the concentration. I'm going to wait a little while. If you wait longer than 3 years after you take your core exam, it's no longer valid. You have to take the core and the concentration within a 3-year pairing on that, okay? Because the exams themselves are only valid for that 3-year window. We want to make sure that those certifications tie together as they go in. Another key change that we made a few years ago was the removal of prerequisites. In order to earn a CCNP, you used to have a CCNA first, right? That's gone. As of 2020, you can jump directly to CCNP, or you can jump directly to CCIE, right? It's still valuable to start go through those paths, but we've had a lot of engineers that have been doing this for a long time, never earned a certification, and didn't feel like they wanted to jump and take the effort and frankly spend the cost to earn a CCNA just to get a CCNP. So those prerequisites are gone. As mentioned, the exams can be taken in any order: core, then concentration, concentration, then core. As long as they're within 3 years, no problem on that side. We're often asked, how do you pass an exam? We don't publish the passing score for an exam for a couple of reasons. One of them is just related to exam security. We take a lot of effort to make sure that our exams stay relevant, secure, and are valid. So when you take a Cisco certification exam, you know that you've earned something that's trusted in the industry. The other reason is that the passing score for each exam may differ, right? And that sounds weird, right? I took the Encore exam and I needed this score to pass. Somebody else needed a lower score to pass. And that's because our goal is not to have the same passing score, but to have the same difficulty level, right? We've got people on our team that specialize in assessment science, right? It's this magic black box of making sure that an exam is equally difficult. And so when we evaluate one exam form, right, we may say, okay, well, that was the difficulty level for that exam is here. This other exam, same topics, its difficulty level is here. Well, that means that the passing score for this exam will be higher than this exam, so that we balance out the actual difficulty of the exam that's on there. And again, our team spends a lot of effort to make sure that those exams are always equally difficult. And so that's another reason we can't publish the passing scores, because they change depending on what set of questions you may see in the exam. And then our as already hinted, you can take multiple concentrations, more specialization, specialized certifications, as well as identify all of those things that make you a unique engineer to your organization and other future potential managers you might work for. So how do you schedule an exam? You figured out which one you're going to go after. You're starting your study process, or maybe you've already been studying. You need to go ahead and get that on the books. And I always encourage people, even if you don't think you're ready to take the exam just yet, schedule it. Pick that date. Decide when you want to take the exam. There's nothing like a deadline that'll push you to actually kind of focus in, make sure you're doing that study preparation. So decide your date you want to take the exam, and then head over to Pearson to actually schedule the exam. When you go in, you'll put in which exam you want to certify for, and then it'll walk you through finding a test center that you can associate with to take that. Now, we have a couple of different options for taking exams. The traditional way to take an exam is at one of our testing centers, a Pearson testing center that's located. We actually have one here. Is anybody taking a certification exam this week? See a couple of hands. Excellent. Take advantage of the opportunity to get them either free or at a discount. But if you don't take it this week, you can always find a Pearson testing center. We've got thousands of them around the world. There's probably likely one somewhere nearby where you live. And so you can go into the testing center, sit down in that nice secure location, focus in on the exam, and take your exam. Now, back during the pandemic, we actually launched what's referred to as OnView, the ability to test at home now. Right? This is a nice bonus that goes through. Now, don't think that doesn't mean that we're not focused as much on security. In order to test at home, you have to make sure that your location and your system that you're taking that test on is still secure. You'll take a camera, you'll take some pictures of the room, right? You'll send those in so that they can make sure you don't have a bunch of answers written on a whiteboard in the corner, right? You'll be told to erase those first. They want to make sure there's no Post-it notes on your desk, things like that, so that room is secure. You'll then download a small piece of software to run on your computer to turn your laptop into the same type of system that you would take at a Pearson Center. So it's a locked browser, right? You can't be in the middle of taking an exam and then go run over to Google and search for something, right? We lock the systems down to keep them secure that are in there. So two different options, both of them equally secure that you can go ahead and take the exam. I couple of the testing center, and it worked very well. But for me, I prefer to go to a testing center, be in that location, sit down in the room, focus in on it. And that works for me. But some people really prefer their own location to take the test. So it's really completely up to you on that side. All right. We know which certification we're going for. We've scheduled our date. The next question is, what do you need to know? How do you prepare to take that certification exam? Now, no matter what certification you're going after, the blueprint or the exam topics list needs to be your guide. If you head over to the Learning Network from Cisco, you'll find for every single one of the blueprints a list that shows you the topics that are there. And I always encourage folks, find the link to download it in PDF format, print it out, maybe laminate it, blow it up to a big poster size, hang it on the wall, look at it every day, because that is what's going to tell you what you need to learn and understand in order to pass that certification exam. And it doesn't matter which one of the certification exams you're going for, core or concentration. Every single certification has a detailed blueprint that dives into the topics that you need to understand. I'm surprised by how many times I talk to an engineer who's preparing for a certification exam, right? They're working on their enterprise core exam. And I'm like, all right, well, which topics from the blueprint are you worried about? And they say, what blueprint? Or I really don't look at that. I'm just studying. No, that's one way to do it, right? You might learn a bunch, but that can also be really stressful. To go after to be an enterprise professional, right? Maybe focused on wireless. There are thousands of things that you might want to know, or you might think that you need to know to pass that exam, right? I can tell you, we don't have 1,000 things on the blueprint topics list. We have to select a handful of those, 30 things, maybe 35 things that we might test you on. use the blueprint to know what are those types of things we're going to ask questions on. So you don't spend extra time studying something that may not be important, may not come up on the exam. That doesn't mean those things aren't relevant to the day job, but when your focus is kind of earning those certification, it's really valuable to focus in on the things that you're actually going to be asked about. So use the blueprints, download them, understand what's there. You've got your blueprints, the time comes to start learning the material. Now, there's always the easy way. I'm always looking for them. I'm sure some of you are as well. So find your books, find your materials, put them under your pillow, and just sleep on them and see if learning by osmosis works for you. Unfortunately, it didn't work for me either, and so I had to kind of go to the other way. I had to do it the hard spot. But before we dive into like where you find learning material, the most important part about learning and for your certifications is actually all in your head. It's about the learning mindset. You have to make a commitment that you're going to learn the material and earn that certification, like a legitimate commitment. And I mean the kind of commitment where you go to your spouse or your partner and say, I'm going to earn this certification so that they can hold you accountable. Or if you've got children, this is the best way to make the commitment. Tell your 12-year-old that you're going to earn a certification by this date. And then you definitely don't want to look at them and be like, I didn't do it. Right? That's a level of accountability that's really tough because they're going to come back to you and be like, well, I don't really need to learn this thing from high school. You didn't earn your certification, Dad, or you didn't earn your certification, Mom. So make that commitment. Make the commitment to yourself. Make the commitment to your family, right? Have them help you maintain accountability. Once you've made the commitment, we want to make an investment. And an investment isn't just about dollars, right? Most of the time we will have to spend a little bit of money. Maybe it's on a course or a book or some sort of video course that we want to go through. I mean an investment in time. That's the more valuable one. When I sit down to study for a new certification, I actually go into my calendar and I block time out. I say, I'm going to study every Tuesday and Thursday from 7 to 10 p.m., right? That's my study time. And I invest, I dedicate that. I commit to making that study time. And if you're earning this certification as something that maybe your boss or your organization is asking you to do, ask them to make an investment as well. It's worth asking. Maybe your boss is willing to give you every other Friday to dedicate to studying so that doesn't all have to come out of your free time, right? There has to be an investment on this side. And the skills that you learn by earning that certification will benefit not just you, but your organization. So talk to your management. Maybe they'll allow you to make an investment on that side as well, from a time as well as potentially after some learning pieces. We already talked about the value of picking the testing date, getting it scheduled that's there, right? Deadlines really drive. When I went to higher education, college, right, I always knew I had only the semester to finish that material and learn it and take the test. When you're doing a certification exam like this, there really is nobody out there. There's no teacher, there's no professor that's forcing you to make sure you take the test by a certain day. But that doesn't mean that you can't do it for yourself, right? Set the date that's in there. That will help you maintain that focus. And so when you get done working for an end of a day and you're like, oh, it was really exhausting, I don't feel like studying tonight, right? You've got your testing date. Stick to your investment. A lot of this really does come down to like personal willpower to push yourself to earn that certification. And then finally, my last suggestion is to on-ramp towards the CCNP with the CCNA. Even if you have the CCNA, maybe you earned it 5-10 years ago, or maybe you never earned it and you're just ready to focus and drive directly into the CCNP, right? There is some value in jumping in and taking the CCNA first. I have some people say, well, I'm worried. Maybe I won't pass the CCNA. My answer on that is always, if you're worried about passing the CCNA, the CCNP is going to be really, really tough, right? So get over some of that worries, build some confidence by taking and passing the CCNA exam, right? As you're preparing for your CCNP, it should be much easier to kind of get to that CCNA level. These will all help you get into that mindset so that you can then dive into the actual technical material that's there. You can leverage digital learning from Cisco U. So u.cisco.com is loaded up with training courses for each one of the exams that we have there, both core and concentration. Each one of those courses is jam-packed with learning material. There are videos from some of our instructors. There are reading materials that dive deep into the topics that you need to know. There are hands-on labs that you can jump into to actually practice the practical skills required to earn and learn those skills that are in there. Cisco U is a great place to go and start your learning journey to pick up some of those materials. Another great place to find learning material would be up on the Cisco Learning Network. The Learning Network is an online forum where you can find details about each one of the certifications. We often hold webinars, right, with our instructors that dive into different topics about each one of the exams that are there. We might post sample questions, right? There are forums, discussions you can have to learn the material that's in there. Recordings from past videos and webinars. Great place to dive in and look. You also want to make sure you're getting hands-on practice with labs, right? Depending on which exam or concentration you're going after, right, there are different ways to practice the hands-on skills. Cisco Modeling Labs is a great tool that lets you build simulated network topologies with routers, switches, firewalls, servers, hosts, all sorts of different capabilities that you can kind of manage and test the different skills that are out there. Or you've got hands-on labs. Maybe your office has some old gear in a lab that you can leverage, right? Hands-on is really, really important to earning any of the certifications that are there. Another way to learn material is things like events here. Now, you're all at Cisco Live, which is fantastic, but there are far too many sessions that run at this Cisco Live that any one of you could hit them all that would help you learn the material. Thankfully, we actually record all of that and make them available on demand for free. And not just from this event that you went to, from all of the events that we have. So if you go to ciscolive.com, find the on-demand library, and then just search for maybe the certification you're after. And you'll see a series of videos from the instructors, as well as the slide resources that you can dive into those technologies. I guarantee whatever certification you're after, you'll find something in the library that will help you earn it. Another excellent resource that you can have are the official certification guides from Cisco and Cisco Press, right? Find a certification guide if they have one for your exam, grab it, read through it. Some of the best ways I've learned and earned my certifications have been from these Cisco Press guides, and I've saved them as they go through and go back to them. Excellent resources to help you kind of learn that material and understand what you're after. Now, undoubtedly, as you go forward, at some point, you're going to have questions. There's going to be something that you're not clear on, so you want to figure out, like, how do I answer the questions? Who can help me when I have them? Well, here at the Cisco U Theater, we actually staff this from the Learning and Certifications team. And we have an entire group globally spread around, dedicated to help you learn the material and earn your certifications. You can ask any of us that are here at the booth now, or you can reach out through forums like the Cisco Learning Network in different areas. We're here to help you earn those certifications and understand the material. I've mentioned the communities up on Cisco Learning Network a few times. Jump on there. You are certainly not the only one learning that certification right now. So go ask your questions, pair up with other people, maybe provide some input to other people that have questions about a topic that maybe they're not quite clear on yet, but you understand, right? The community group is a really great way because nobody is alone in their certification journey, right? There are hundreds of people out there at the exact same time as you learning that same material. Maybe find a few of them and generate a study group. Right here inside of Cisco, there's actually been a push to earn some more certifications. And so some of the SEs put together a CCNP study group that I jumped in to help them learn and earn as it went through. It's another great way for accountability. At the end of the day, if you're still not sure who to ask, feel free to ask me. Reach out to me, hapresto@cisco.com. I'll do my best to help get your questions answered so that you can get that certification. And we're still not done with potential ways to get your questions answered, right? It's the age of artificial intelligence. You can always ask the artificial intelligence overlords that are there, right? It's not quite the same as having like a person like face to face, right? AI is getting better, but sometimes we don't have a person face to face that we can ask the question. And so I've been experimenting with a lot of the different artificial intelligence options that are out there so that we can dive in and see what's there. So I asked one of them, hey, I'm studying for my CCNP and Encore exam, and I'm confused about the difference between type 1 and type 2 hypervisors. Can you help me? And I got a very good description of what that topic is to dive in, right? Artificial intelligence and these large language models are really a great resource that we can take advantage of to maintain or to learn those topics, right? It doesn't necessarily replace everything else. I wouldn't trust everything that AI tells me, but it is a resource and worth having. All right, with that, we're coming to the end on this and our journey about our CCNP certifications. The most important thing I want to have all of you remember is let's get technical again, right? We all got into IT and engineering because we like playing with technology, and certifications are a great way to learn technology and build new skills that are on that side, right? And some of those skills you learn might help you keep the screens from going red and actually keep them green, which would be really nice on that side as well. Now, a handful of useful links that are here. Look for things on the exam certification policies that are out there, the guides for certification, plenty of resources to kind of help you in your journey. Now, as mentioned, I'm here to help you. I'd love to see each and every one of you earn your CCNPs. Feel free to reach out. My contact information, once again, hapresto@cisco.com. And please follow me up on the Cisco blog site. I'm constantly posting about different topics, technology areas that are there, helping people across the spectrum from automation to CCNA skills, right? We're here to make sure that each one of you can meet your own personal certification journey. And with that, I want to thank you all for joining me here at the Cisco U Theater. Now, we do have a bit of a raffle going on. So you sat here for about 30 minutes listening to me talk about the CCNP, and one of you out there may have a penguin hanging under your chair. Does anybody have a penguin hanging under your chair? All right, come on. It's not a joke. Like, there's literally a penguin under one of the chairs someplace. I don't know which one. Where is it? Did we find it? Ah, congratulations. Well done. In honor of sitting on top of the penguin, you have earned a pickleball set. Come on up. All right, with that, thank you again for joining me for this session. We'll have sessions here at the Cisco U Theater all day long. In fact, I'll be back at the end of the day at about 5 o'clock doing some trivia questions from CCNA and CCNP blueprints. Come back, have some fun, join us again, and more prizes to be had.